Welcome to What is Truth, brought to you by the Southern New Mexico Church of God in Las Cruces, New Mexico. What is Truth is a weekly program which seeks to focus our attention on the truth of God's Word. Now, with this week's lesson, here's Pastor Meyer Stahl.
Hi, I'm Meyer Stahl, the pastor of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, bringing you the program, What is Truth? Today, I have an old friend coming as our guest. His name is Dave Gallus, and he's the host of he has his own TV show called We the People on the Las Cruces channel on Saturday and Sunday. You could look it up on the Las Cruces channel to find the times and watch his program. So, Dave, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Meyer. It's good to be back.
It's good to have you, Dave. And our job today is to show, indeed, that abortion is indeed murder.
Yes.
That's our purpose. Now, I have here from the Sun News, it's a special edition. It's called the 2021 Legislative Special Edition, and on the second page, it says an open letter from faith leaders. An open letter from faith leaders. I'm going to read it to you. It says, we clergy and religious leaders from across New Mexico, in accordance with our moral, remember that word, moral convictions and our personal faith, support a woman's ability to access a full range of reproductive health services, including abortion. Now there's at least 100 here of ministers with their names, the names of the churches, and the location of the churches. And there are several here from Las Cruces and surrounding areas. Now, I read that, and I says, wait a minute, do I really understand what moral is? So, Dave, I'm going to ask you to look into the dictionary here, the American College Dictionary, page 790, and look up the word moral and tell us what you find.
Well, the first definition is pertaining to or concerned with right conduct or the distinction between right or wrong, moral considerations. But the second one is very interesting. It says, concerned with the principles or rules of right conduct, ethical, moral philosophy. Moral.
Yeah, it uses the word moral to explain moral.
Right.
Everybody knows what moral is.
Yeah, you would think.
Right thing.
You think, but reading this letter from these church leaders, I don't know. I don't think they know what moral is.
Okay, let me ask you, Dave. Let me ask you a question. If a baby is delivered and the baby is alive, and it's only seconds out of the birth canal, and it's delivered alive, and you kill it, is it murder?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was a policeman for 25 years, but you don't have to be a policeman to know that it's murder.
Well, sure.
You have a life.
Okay. You got the same baby's inside the womb. It's not a different thing. It's not a rabbit. It's a baby.
It doesn't change when it comes
It
out.
doesn't change,
right,
yeah.
Right.
So if you kill it at the last moment, it's not murder.
It's not?
Well, that's what the law says. The law says it's not.
Well, they're trying to say that.
Yeah.
That's not God's law.
No.
That's not natural law.
So if I decide to kill that same baby in the womb, according to the law, it's not murder. But once that baby is delivered alive and outside the womb, then it's murder.
They're both
Does that make any sense?
not at all. They're both murder.
Well, sure. The Supreme Court in 1973 gave a decision, Roe versus Wade, that it's a woman's choice, and it was the first law made by the Supreme Court. It's not in our law books.
It's not their job to make laws. It's their job to interpret laws.
Yeah.
And they failed miserably on that one.
And unfortunately, through the times, there's been so many abortions.
How many children have been aborted since that Roe versus Wade?
Well, nobody knows for sure, but we hear all kinds of numbers. I hear 40 million, I hear 60 million, I hear as many as 80 million abortions since 1973, Roe versus Wade. Now, so those are reportable abortions. Those are abortions that are reported. What about the abortions that are not reported?
No, sure.
There really could be upwards of 100 million preborn babies destroyed.
Yep.
There could be.
Yep.
And what country did this virus come up in? What was the first country?
China.
China was the one that led abortions, didn't they?
Yes, I believe it is.
Because they have one child per family.
Right.
And if you have two, that second one has to be aborted.
From what I understand now, they have to import labor because they don't have a labor force, probably because of this.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's like payback. Now, I hear of a woman named Margaret Sanger, and I think she was working in Harlem. But can you tell me more about Margaret Sanger?
Yeah, Margaret Sanger was born in 1879. She died in 1966. She devoted her life to legalizing birth control and making it universally available for women. She was the founder of the American Birth Control League. And in 1942, it became Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood. Now, Planned Parenthood, what does that tell you, Dave?
Well, it's a conflict in terms. I mean, it's like you're not going to be a parent if you kill your children.
Yeah.
So, and I hear the word eugenicist. Now, was she a eugenicist?
Yes, she was. So in 1942, it became Planned Parenthood, health centers in the United States of America. Dave, would you read page 414 in the American College Dictionary about eugenics?
Sure, eugenics. The science of improving the qualities of the human race, especially the careful selection of parents. Parents.
Yeah, parents. Okay. She taught that criminals, insane, and blacks were inferior and deserved not to live. That's what she taught.
Yeah.
And she argued for compulsory sterilization and segregation for people with disabilities. And you could read her speech that she gave in 1932. Look it up on Google. And it was called My Way to Peace. And she wanted forced sterilization and concentration camps for feeble-minded people, morons, mental defectives, epileptics, illiterates, paupers, unemployables. Suppose you couldn't get a job. You could be an unemployed
everybody
person,
on
right?
welfare would not be able to...
I don't know. Criminals, prostitutes, dope fiends, and blacks.
Wow.
So she included everybody in this.
I think she started this in Harlem, And it's the black communities that she focused on, because I believe she had some kind of traumatic event involving a black person.
It could be.
Whatever it is, it's promoting, she's guilty of all these murders since that time.
Yeah, she's the one that started the ball rolling.
And did you know that Roe versus Wade, the woman that this started over, Roe, she never did abort her child. She never had to, and she's never regretted having her child.
Well, that part is wonderful news, but still in all, the decision was let down.
From what I understand, she travels the country promoting pro-life.
Yeah, when I was a boy, if someone had done an abortion, a doctor had done an abortion, he'd go to jail. That's it. They throw the key away. He was going to jail for a long period of time. It was murder.
Right, sure.
And today, it's not.
Well, it's man's law. It's not God's law.
Yeah.
And it's a bad law.
Okay, Dave, would you read Leviticus chapter 18, verse 21?
And thou shalt not let any of your seed pass through the fire to Molech, neither shall you profane the name of thy God. I am the Lord. Oh, now, who's Molech?
Okay, Molech was a god that the people worshipped, the people of Canaan. It was a Canaanite god. Mm-hmm. And here's what they did. They would build a statue of Molech out of bronze. Mm-hmm. And he had his arms extended like this.
Okay.
And then they would build a fire under his arms until the arms became red hot. And then they would take a newborn baby, and they called it passing through the fire. Oh. And they would drop that newborn baby onto the arms of this god Molech and sacrifice this screaming baby burning up. And that's what passing through the fire meant.
Oh my gosh.
That's terrible, isn't it?
Oh, I don't even want to imagine such a thing.
Yeah, it's so terrible. But yet, they thought they were doing God a favor. You know, they thought they were pleasing God.
Well, they weren't pleasing God. They were pleasing a God, their God.
Yeah.
It was a false God.
Well, it was satanic.
Yeah. Well.
And God punished Israel for doing that. They were taken away in 729 BC. The 10 tribes in the north were taken away by the Assyrians over the Euphrates River and taken away as slaves. All 10 tribes, all 10 tribes there. The tribes in the south were the tribes of Judah. Now, you would think that the tribes of Judah would learn from the lesson that the tribes of Israel, there were two separate groups. Mm-hmm. And you would think that they would learn from that lesson. But they didn't. And they followed the same things. I'd like you to read Deuteronomy chapter 12 and start in verse 29.
When the Lord thy God shall cut off the nations from before you, whether you goest to possess them, and you succeedeth them, and dwellest in their land, take heed to thyself that you be not snared by following them after that they be destroyed from before you, and that you enquire not after their gods, small g, saying, how did these nations serve their gods? Even so will I do likewise. Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord, which he hateth, have they done unto their gods, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to the gods. What thing soever I command you, observe to do it. Thou shalt not add thereto, nor diminish from it. What is this passing through the fire? I mean, I guess that's what you were referring to.
Yeah, that's what this is talking about. It's talking about taking newborn babies and dropping them in the arms of Baal or Molech. They had two different gods there that they were serving.
I heard a word some time ago called cannibal, but I also heard that it relates to what we're talking about here.
Okay, cannibal is a Hebrew word. It's actually two words. The first word is Khan. Khan means priest, and Baal means Baal, the false god Baal. Okay, so it's put together, Khan Nabal. Okay, so the priest of Baal would actually eat the flesh of these babies once they were cooked, once they were roasted, they would eat their flesh. And that's where we get the word cannibal from. Incredible, isn't it?
It really is. And I've heard there's strange things still going on where children are being sacrificed.
Okay, we're going to take a short break, folks. Please don't go away. We've got more to explain. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Call Mark Goldstein, the Safe Money Guy, at 575-556-2472 to learn about innovative strategies now available to help you grow, protect, and preserve your money and financial future, regardless of market conditions.
There you go.
So great, you do all these different gears to the plan.
Okay.
Nice.
Guys, not all.
Welcome back to the program. In case you tuned in late, our topic today is abortion murder? And if you missed part of the program, you could catch us on YouTube. All you have to do is go to YouTube and type in "What is Truth" with Meyer Stahl, and you could choose from any number of programs. We have over 500 programs that you could choose from, and you could watch this program that we're doing today. You might want to recommend it to friends, neighbors, and relatives, and it could be helpful to those people who are contemplating abortion. Anyhow, we have two very important booklets we'd love to share with you today. The first booklet is called Predestination. And on the bottom of the booklet it says, "Is your ultimate fate decided for you in advance? No subject has baffled, perplexed, and worried people more. Here, for the first time, many will read the astonishing truth, so plain all can understand." It's called Predestination. These are free booklets. We never ask the public for money. The second booklet is very important. What kind of faith is required for salvation? Let me ask you a question. What is the most important thing in your life? Is it your job, your family? What is it? What's the most important thing? It's your salvation. What you're going to be doing for the rest of all eternity. That's got to be the most important thing in your life, the most important question. So you can get these two booklets. All you have to do is call us at area code 575-650-7359. And now back to the program. Dave, I would like you to look up, to read 1 Kings chapter 16 and start in verse 29 to 33.
And in the 38th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Ahab the son of Omri to reign over Israel. And Ahab the son of Omri reigned over Israel in Samaria 22 years. And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. And it came to pass, as it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, that he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which he had built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove, and Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger them than all the kings of Israel that were before him.
Okay, let me explain what a grove is. A grove is a group of trees, okay? Mm-hmm. That's a grove. And what they would do is a person would have their special tree that they would come up to and worship that tree. Now, have you ever heard the expression, knock on wood?
Yes.
My mother used to always say, knock on wood, knock on wood.
Like it's lucky.
Like she's a woodpecker or something, you know, knock on wood. Okay, what they would do is they would give their petition to the certain tree. And they would knock on the tree, see? Now, if the tree knocked back, their petition was granted. Now, you might think that's crazy. Well, Satan can work miracles too. Satan can knock back. Satan could give that person their petition, answer that person's prayer, to keep people worshiping trees, right?
Sure.
See? So that was the whole idea. Keep them coming, keep them worshiping trees.
Control.
Now, Jeremiah chapter 10 talks about, learn not the way of the heathen. People go out, cut a tree out of the forest, they deck it with silver and gold, and they put a stand so it could stand upright, and they worshiped that tree. They carried it around, and they worshiped it. And I don't know how it got into Christmas. I don't understand how a Christmas tree has anything to do with Jesus Christ. Do you?
I've heard that it's a pagan symbol is what it is.
It is. It's a pagan symbol. It goes back way, way back in antiquity. It goes back to the days of Nimrod. And he married his own mother, believe it or not. He married his own mother. And he died. And Semiramis went out into the forest, and she said she saw a tree grow out of a stump overnight. And she says, well, that was Nimrod. And she had people worship Nimrod as a tree. You see, that's where tree worship came from.
Right.
Came from Nimrod and his wife, mother, Semiramis, marrying his own mother.
Wow.
Okay, incredible. Dave, you've got a couple things to say about forgiveness, don't you?
I do know that I can't imagine what a woman must go through when she thinks the only option she has is to destroy her own child. I can't imagine, even in the animal kingdom, that doesn't occur unless it's to save the other of the litter or maybe save the mother's health or whatever. But, and I don't think our young women are given enough information about what the options are. Here in Las Cruces, we have wonderful centers, a CareNet, we have Turning Point. I've been in these facilities. They even have, one of them has even a room for to-be fathers to really get them into the idea of what this precious gift is and how you can step up and be courageous, be the hero. And women going through this alone, whether their parents don't want to have anything to do with the daughters or the churches don't want to support them like we're talking about here, they need to be forgiven. And I think, I've done things in my past, not abortion, but things that I've asked forgiveness for. And I know God has forgiven me. The hardest part is for me to forgive myself. And I think that's true of the women as well. So if the women know that there's a community that wants to surround and support them, they might not have to make that choice. And there's twice as many people that want to adopt as there are abortions. So it doesn't make sense that we should ever abort another child. So I want to say there's forgiveness.
There's a whole lot of forgiveness. God is waiting for you to come to Him and ask for it. All you have to do is ask. That's all you have to do. And God will give it.
I mean,
now,
I'm sorry. I read in the Bible about King David.
Yeah.
King David had his own general murdered and took the general's wife, and he was forgiven. So,
yeah, and he caused the death of that general's wife, general, and married her and had a child with her, and God took that child.
yes.
And the child died, but God forgave him
Yes.
all those sins.
Yes.
He committed a lot of sins in his lifetime.
Yes.
He was a hero, but he also sinned too.
And he was, God loved David, no
And
matter
God-
what. And God
God-
forgives us all.
God called him a man after his own heart.
Yes.
So back to this letter, an open letter from New Mexico faith leaders saying that they approve of abortion, and we prove today that abortion is indeed murder. It's murder inside the womb as well as it would be outside the womb. So please don't forget to order these two very important booklets. Predestination. You're not predestined to be lost. You're not predestined to be saved. Find out what predestination is all about. It would only take you about 10-15 minutes to read the booklet. The second booklet is what kind of faith is required for salvation. And that's the most important thing in your life, what you're going to be doing for all eternity. Is it not? Is it not? Yes, it is. Well, this is Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, and Dave Gallus saying goodbye, my friends.
You have been listening to What is Truth with Pastor Meyer Stahl of the Southern New Mexico Church of God, located in Las Cruces, New Mexico. For copies of today's lesson or for more information, call area code 575-650-7359. That's 575-650-7359. Join us next week at this same time for another edition of What is Truth. Until next week, we wish you God's richest blessings.